When you work for a company, both sides have a job to do. I get it. Employees supposed to do their work, follow the rules, show up, be professional. And the employer's supposed to do their part. Follow the rules, treat people fairly, and do what they were gonna say they were gonna do in writing. Some jobs will say that they're at-will employers, which means that they can just let somebody go, and also the worker can leave too. But it does not mean that a company can just do whatever they want. They have to follow protocol, they have to follow the law, its policies, and whatever they have in written agreement. That's why people should not just sit there and take unfair treatment. People should feel confident in their ability to speak up when it matters. Even though some people may not listen or want to listen or just laugh it off, those people should be held accountable, especially if they're in leadership positions and they blame other departments within the company. I've seen it firsthand. Instead of just looking for a solution, they blame it on other people, if you ask me. Not gonna name names, but I've seen it plenty of times. So the important part is to stay calm, be respectful, write things down. If you go through, let's say, a random meeting with the director of a particular department and no other person is available or present, a lot can go wrong. So write things down. It's happened to me, and I was pressured to resubmit my resume even though I wasn't quitting and I had no intent on doing so until they laid me off. So write things down, save emails, use the right process, talk to a union representative, or even file a complaint. Have that in writing. It helps. Because the other day I got a call and they had explained to me that because of actions that I took, company was finally doing what they were supposed to do, and it basically influenced the process. So I made some sort of impact. It is challenging, and I get it. Speaking up does not make someone difficult. It just means that they respect themselves and know that they matter. Job's not just about doing what the boss says. It's also about both sides keeping their word. These days, nobody wants to work. I've heard that plenty of times, and I've seen people slacking off be very discouraging to people that work day in and day out. I get it. And the employer should also follow the rules that they agreed to follow. If a company breaks those rules, people should not stay silent, and they shouldn't just accept the loss. People should speak up, stand up for themselves, and use the proper process. Just one person could influence the process. I'm not saying that I won or anything, but it's unfortunate. Yeah, they discontinued my position, and they have every right to do so, but to just do it unofficially and just like shrug their shoulders and just, oh yeah, I thought you knew. That ain't right. So my point is accountability, expectation. I wouldn't say compromise, but people in general need to just do better. And I could break it down even further. Company has to think about finances, revenue, budgets. Company needs to be making money. They could also change the business and to see how work is getting done. I understand that. Sometimes removing a job position because they believe they no longer need that position, or they'll just call it reorganizing the team. They might say, we have a right to run a business, make changes, and make hard decisions, but they should still treat people fairly, clearly, and professionally, not doing things under the table. Even if a company has the power to make that decision, they should still communicate clearly, follow its own policies, and follow any union rules or written agreements. And lastly, to make sure that the process is fair. Companies still have a duty to follow proper process. Companies have a right to make business decisions. Employees have the right to be treated fairly according to the rules. Power does not remove responsibility. People who think otherwise are twisted. But let me just show you this. I have a breakdown here. Here's the employee perspective versus company perspective, just to make it fair. And the employee perspective, I can say this because this decision was not due to performance concerns. So the employee says, I did my job and deserve to be treated fairly. They would say, we have to make tough business decisions that we think is best for the company. If there were rules, policies, or agreements, they should have been followed. Does that make sense? I think so. Company would say that we have the right to change roles, departments, or staffing when needed. I get it. Employees, even if my job was ending, I still deserve respect, honesty, and proper communication. Even when the decision is hard, we still need to carry it out professionally. You gotta do what you gotta do. I should not have to stay quiet if something was handled the wrong way. Very important. Company would say employees may question decisions, and we should be ready to explain our process. Being prepared, and more importantly, having empathy will help with this relationship. Because speaking up does not make me a problem. It means I know my rights and I value myself. Ideally, companies would say, if we make mistakes in the process, we should fix them and do better. I'm actually happy to know that they did, because after dealing with me, they decided to follow protocol. Wow, mind blown, amazing. I understand companies make decisions, tough decisions, right? But if I did my part, which I did, then the company should do its part too. Hold their end of the agreement and have some dignity. courtesy, and respect for people, because these are lives you're affecting. As a business person myself, I got to think like the company sometimes. I got to do what I got to do. And in my mind, it is not really down a certain W-2 path in my experience, because I've worked for 10 years already in the market, in the workforce, and I just see things that disappoint me in terms of how companies are run and how companies run their operations a lot of the times. So more on that in the next episode. Also, the importance of avoiding pure emotional reactions will definitely help in professional development. It will definitely help for you to have control of your emotions in systems thinking. Because a lot of these people that run corporations and companies, they don't tend to be emotionally available. And if companies would use empathy to actually care about their employees, then I honestly think they'll make more revenue and profit that way. But hey, I'm just a guy talking to a camera, right? So anyways, I digress. Let me just say this, man. A company may have the power to make a decision. They have every right to do so, but they still have the duty to do it right. And an employee may not control the outcome, but they still have the right to speak up if the process was unfair. Companies have power, workers have rights. Both sides have responsibilities. And people, I really think you should really think about what you think in yourself first. You gotta really have a solid foundation, a good understanding of who you are. And you can't just take those punches, brother, sister, my fellow Americans, because I'm a US born citizen. And I would never hurt myself, first and foremost, just putting that on record. Wink, wink. You have to use your given rights as a US citizen to speak up. However, I will say this: learn to open your heart, man. Learn to understand another person's perspective. At least try. Not everybody's gonna be compliant. I get that. Especially working in healthcare, there's patients that refuse, people will refuse assistance. They will refuse help for whatever reason it exists. I feel sorry for those people. I was very agitated. I was I want people to want help for themselves. And also, my recent surgery had made me feel and think about a patient experience. And it's tough. Because if you can't do something, your morale goes down and your mind starts talking, and it gets loud in here if you don't have control of it. So then you're just going to basically give up. It takes energy to stand up for yourself, both literally and physically. Took me about 6 or 7 weeks to even be able to walk after knee surgery. So I get it. And that's just a light incident. There's a lot of oversimplification in this world and in this planet, because honestly, education is expensive. I'm fortunate enough to be a 4-year university graduate with a BA in cinema. That's a little plug, because I'm also in the job market right now because of the layoff. So if you need help with your branding, marketing, video production, media production, graphic design, I do a lot of things and I can help you. Given that, honestly, I can do a lot. And if you need help, I'm willing to do so. Let's negotiate. But both sides, as per this episode, should work together and try to make money in the most honest way possible, because it's possible. A lot of other media producers and people that work in media will say otherwise, just for whatever reason. Wink, wink. I could say a lot about that, maybe. And you know what? As a movie guy, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to break down the stories behind major blockbusters and movies, because I like that type of stuff. And it's fun to talk about, right? So I'll close it out with this. At the end of the day, companies may have the power to make decisions, but that doesn't mean that they should treat their employees like they don't matter. A job is still a relationship, and both sides have a responsibility to do what they said they would do. And if you are a person or someone that has been treated unfairly, let this be your reminder. Don't just sit there and take the hit. As a martial artist, keep yourself protected at all times. Speak up. Ask questions. Ask for clarification. Document everything. Not to be all up in your face with the camera and be annoying with that, because that does get annoying. But for your own security and safety, these are political skills here. You need to develop your political skills. Use proper process. Stay respectful but firm. Stand firm. Yeah, stay respectful but stand firm. Walk with your chest out, brother. Your voice matters. Your work matters. And your dignity is super important in this. No matter what system you're dealing with, remember, power does not cancel responsibility, and silence does not create justice. Keep your head up, man. Keep your standards high, and keep moving forward. And most importantly, keep moving forward. Thank you for listening. God bless. Peace.